Welcome back to ShowsSnap, where cinema gets simplified. Hold tight, sit still, and let the show begin. Today we are diving into the heart of the Guardians of the Galaxy. In a hospital's waiting area in 1988, a young boy named Peter Quill is engrossed in the tunes of awesome mixtape #1 playing on his Walkman. His grandfather approaches him, urging him to bid farewell to his ailing mother, who is on the verge of succumbing to a brain tumor. As she hands him a gift, she fondly mentions that his father resembled an angel and that Peter shares that resemblance. In her final moments, overwhelmed with emotion, Peter hesitates to hold her hand, and she passes away. Grief-stricken, Peter dashes out of the hospital, only to be suddenly whisked away by an unidentified flying object. Fast forward to 2014 on the planet Morag. The grown-up Peter Quill, now known as Star-Lord, is on a quest to locate a cryptic orb. As he listens to the familiar tunes of awesome mixtape #1, he discovers the orb and retrieves it from a laser-protected chamber. However, his triumph is short-lived as he finds himself cornered by Korath the Pursuer and his crew. A fierce confrontation ensues, with blasters firing and lights flashing. Amidst the chaos, Peter manages to dodge his adversaries, making a narrow, heart-pounding escape before swiftly reaching his spacecraft, the Milano. Peter's father, Yondu Udonta, who leads the Ravager group that brought up Peter, reaches out to him, demanding the orb. Peter, however, has other plans and contemplates selling it independently. Korath makes his way back to the Dark Aster, a formidable Kree battleship commanded by the ruthless Ronan the Accuser. Ronan harbors a deep-seated grudge against the inhabitants of Xandar for the demise of his father and grandfather. Korath informs him of his failure to secure the orb and mentions Peter's possession of it. Eager to use the orb as a bargaining chip with Thanos, Ronan contemplates sending Thanos' daughter, Nebula, to retrieve it. However, her sibling, Gamora, steps forward to take on the task. Despite Nebula's objections, Ronan dispatches Gamora. On Xandar, Peter approaches a dealer to inquire about the orb, especially since he's aware that Ronan's minions are also on its trail. However, upon hearing Ronan's name, the dealer immediately distances himself, refusing any association with the orb, and ushers Peter out. As he exits, Gamora confronts Peter, attempting to seize the orb. In the midst of their skirmish, they're suddenly ambushed by Rocket Raccoon and Groot, who have their sights set on the bounty placed on Peter. It's not long before the Nova Corps apprehends Peter, Gamora, Rocket, and Groot, processing them and sending them off to the Kiln, a notorious space prison. Inside the prison, Gamora finds herself in peril, as many inmates bear a grudge against her due to her association with Thanos. Drax the Destroyer is particularly hostile, seeking revenge for the loss of his wife and child at the hands of Ronan. He believes that by harming Gamora, he can exact vengeance on Ronan's kin. However, Gamora clarifies that she has no allegiance to Ronan and had plans to betray him. Peter steps in, advocating for Gamora. Ronan is beckoned to Thanos' lair within an asteroid cluster. There, he informs Thanos of Gamora's treachery and, in a show of defiance, eliminates one of Thanos' subordinates who disrespected him. Thanos, unfazed, instructs Ronan to retrieve the orb and deal with Gamora, hinting at dire consequences if he fails. To add salt to the wound, Thanos mentions his preference for Gamora over Nebula, which visibly irks her. Back at the Kiln, Gamora reveals an alternative buyer for the orb, enticing Peter, Rocket, and Groot with the promise of a share in the profits. Rocket devises an escape plan, which requires a guard's wrist device, a battery from a towering column, and oddly, a prisoner's prosthetic leg. As Rocket emphasizes the importance of procuring the battery last, Groot, in his typical fashion, fetches it first, triggering alarms and unleashing security drones. Amidst the chaos, Gamora pursues the wrist device, while Peter humorously bargains for the prosthetic leg. Drax, seeing an opportunity to confront Ronan through Gamora, decides to join the breakout. Once they've gathered the necessary items, the group converges at a guard post near the prison's apex. Rocket, in a twist of humor, reveals he didn't actually need the leg. As their window of escape narrows, Rocket ingeniously manipulates the acquired items to disable the prison's gravity, using the security drones as makeshift thrusters to propel the guard post out of the prison. Their escape nearly complete, Peter detours, intent on retrieving his cherished Walkman from a guard. Yondu, in his quest for the orb, interrogates his broker, who hints at Peter's potential whereabouts. Aboard Peter's ship, their journey takes them to Nowhere, a space hub crafted from a Celestial's decapitated head, where they aim to meet the enigmatic Collector. As they await their appointment, Drax, Rocket, and Groot indulge in alcohol and gambling. Meanwhile, a shared appreciation for music brings Gamora and Peter closer. He introduces her to the concept of dancing, likening it to an ancient tale he knows as Footloose. Their bonding moment is interrupted when Peter misreads the situation and makes an advance, which Gamora promptly rebuffs. Before their scheduled meeting with the Collector, the group's dynamics are tested. An inebriated Drax, Rocket, and Groot end up in a heated altercation, with Drax belittling Groot's intelligence and Rocket growing weary of being labeled a mere rodent. Peter's intervention prevents the situation from escalating. Soon after, they're ushered to meet the Collector by his aide. Unbeknownst to them, Drax discreetly contacts Ronan. The Collector boasts an expansive collection of cosmic rarities, among which are Howard the Duck and Cosmo, a spacefaring dog. Upon inspecting the orb, the Collector unveils its true nature. It houses an Infinity Stone, a relic of immense power birthed during the universe's inception. As he delves into the lore of the Infinity Stones, his assistant, driven by desperation, seizes the stone in a bid to end her servitude. The overwhelming power of the stone consumes her, culminating in a devastating explosion. Miraculously, most of the group survives, including Cosmo. With the orb and its volatile contents in hand, they determine that the safest course of action is to deliver it to the Nova Corps on Xandar. Their plans are abruptly disrupted when Ronan, acting on Drax's tip, ambushes them. Yondu's Ravager crew also descends upon them, having traced Peter through the broker. A high-octane chase ensues, with Gamora, Rocket, and Quill piloting individual ships, pursued relentlessly by Nebula and Ronan's forces. On the ground, Drax confronts Ronan, only to be overpowered. In the heat of the chase, Nebula targets Gamora's vessel, critically damaging it. Seizing the Infinity Stone, Nebula abandons Gamora to the cold void of space. Witnessing Gamora's peril, Peter, driven by a mix of guilt and affection, contacts Yondu, revealing his location. He then ventures into space, sharing his life-supporting mask with Gamora in a desperate bid to save her. Moments before the cold void claims them, Yondu's ship ensnares them with a tractor beam. Aboard the ship, it becomes evident that it's the very vessel that had abducted Peter in his youth. Aboard the Dark Aster, Ronan, now in possession of the Infinity Stone, defies Thanos. He embeds the stone into his weapon, declaring his intent to obliterate Xandar himself and subsequently target Thanos. On Yondu's ship, tensions rise as Yondu contemplates executing Peter for his treachery. However, Peter's mention of a plan to retrieve the orb piques Yondu's interest. Meanwhile, on Nowhere, Drax, Groot, and Rocket, realizing the gravity of the situation, decide to rescue Peter and Gamora from Yondu's clutches. They approach Yondu's ship with the Milano, threatening its destruction unless their friends are released. To their surprise, Peter emerges, assuring Rocket of their safety. Aboard the Milano, Peter outlines the dire situation. Ronan, armed with the Infinity Stone, poses an existential threat to Xandar. The group debates their next move, with Peter admitting to having only a fragment of a plan. Despite initial skepticism, the group, inspired by Peter's resolve, unites in their determination to thwart Ronan's genocidal intentions. Peter contacts the Nova Corps, warning them of the impending doom and urging them to prepare. Rocket proposes a daring strategy: reach the Dark Aster to neutralize Ronan. The plan unfolds with Rocket and Yondu's crew defending Xandar from Ronan's aerial assault, while Peter, Groot, Drax, and Gamora infiltrate the Dark Aster. On the ground, Yondu showcases his lethal prowess with his arrow, decimating Ronan's forces. Inside the Dark Aster, the group faces formidable resistance. Gamora confronts her sister, Nebula, in a fierce duel. Drax avenges his family by eliminating Korath. Groot, showcasing his unique abilities, dispatches numerous adversaries. Their path eventually leads them to Ronan, who proves to be an overwhelming adversary. In a desperate move, Rocket crashes the Milano into the Dark Aster, seemingly incapacitating Ronan. As the ship plummets towards Xandar, Groot forms a protective cocoon around his friends, sacrificing himself in the process. The crash leaves the group battered but alive, save for Groot, who is reduced to splinters. However, the respite is short-lived as Ronan, unscathed, emerges from the wreckage. As he prepares to unleash the stone's power, Peter distracts him with an impromptu dance-off. This diversion allows Drax and Rocket to target Ronan's weapon, releasing the Infinity Stone. Peter, risking his life, grasps the stone. With Gamera's encouragement and the combined strength of his allies, they harness the stone's power, obliterating Ronan. In the aftermath, Rocket salvages a fragment of Groot, nurturing hope for his friend's return. Yondu confronts Peter, demanding the Infinity Stone as per their initial agreement. Peter hands over the orb, and as Yondu departs, one of his crewmen remarks on their fondness for Peter, hinting at a missed opportunity from years ago when they were supposed to deliver Peter to his enigmatic father. However, Gamera's suspicions are aroused when Peter reveals he'd swapped the orbs, retaining the one containing the Infinity Stone. They decide to hand it over to the Nova Corps for safekeeping. At the Nova HQ, Peter discovers the truth about his lineage. He's part human and part of an ancient, unknown species. This revelation provides a clue as to how he could handle the Infinity Stone without perishing. Aboard Yondu's ship, a celebratory mood prevails. However, Yondu, curious about the orb's contents, opens it to find a troll doll, a playful ruse by Peter. Peter, reflecting on the past, finally opens the gift from his late mother, a cassette labeled Awesome Mixtape No. 2. As the Guardians ponder their next adventure, Gamera endorses Peter's leadership, dubbing him Star-Lord. Peter playfully suggests their next escapade might be a blend of noble and mischievous intentions. The credits roll with a delightful scene. As a testament to Groot's resilience and Rocket's care, a tiny sapling, the rebirth of Groot, begins to sprout and dance to the tunes of the 1980s, pausing his antics whenever Drax glances his way, only to resume once Drax's attention is diverted. Amidst the ruins, the Collector drowns his sorrows. Cosmo, the space-faring dog, approaches, offering a comforting lick. The scene takes a comedic turn when Howard the Duck, another of the Collector's acquisitions, chimes in with a quip, sipping his drink. That's a wrap on Guardians of the Galaxy with ShowsSnap, where cinema comes to life, simplified. Enjoy the ride, smash that like button and subscribe for more movie magic. Have a film in mind for our next snapshot? Drop it in the comments below. Until next time, keep the reels rolling and the passion alive. And remember that we appreciate you.